Hi guys, so today's video is going to be another toasty roast, and this time it's for the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. If you haven't seen this series on my channel before, it's where I ask people over on my Instagram what are their unpopular opinions about some popular books, and I alternate between books that I like and books that I don't really like. The Stormlight Archive series happens to be one that I do like. I haven't looked at the submissions yet, so let's jump into it. This first one, we're gonna ease into it nice and easy. This first one says, Oathbringer is my favorite of the three, although I get the criticisms as well. I loved it. Normally, when I share these, I don't put people's usernames or anything like that because I don't want anybody to all of a sudden get a bunch of hate out of nowhere. But this person, first off, this isn't even really very toasty. They're just, I think they know that Oathbringer is my least favorite of the three. But this person has an amazing art Instagram account, and they are so lovely, and they have really great artwork for Stormlight Archive. So I am going to link them and show their username. Definitely check them out. As far as Oathbringer being their favorite of the three, I just said that it's not. It's my least favorite of the three. In fact, my favorite, my order goes 1, 2, 3. I just felt like Oathbringer, it just felt like middle book syndrome. There were some things that felt like they had to happen in that one, but they didn't feel as organic. It was more like, oh, this has to happen now in order for things to happen that are supposed to happen later. There were some incredibly powerful scenes, but I gotta move on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna start gushing. The next one says, it's good if being good was getting hit in the head with the rock and being thrown off a cliff. Okay, normally when I do these, I feel like a lot of times people will be like, I didn't like the characters. I thought it was boring. Like they'll say, you know, just some a kind of more like typical dislike, but this is very creative. This next one says, most people like and appreciate Shallan's character. I roll my eyes every time I have to read her point of view. So I actually don't agree with that, and I think of course it just depends on who you talk to or what things you've seen online, but from the things I've seen, I feel like Shallan of the main characters gets the most hate and the least like. I don't think I see that much love for Shallan. Okay, again, I feel like I have to show who this person is because they have their own channel and they're lovely, so I am going to include their username. But they said, Moash did nothing wrong. LOL, JK. And yeah, the JK part. That's a whole debate. I have never liked Moash. I'm just going to say right here and now, I have always hated that guy. Obviously, I feel like some of the feelings with Moash depend on if you've read all 3 books or not. My husband has read the first 2, and I'm like, I will see what you think of Moash after book 3. The next one says, I sometimes feel Brandon only makes the book so long because he has to. Okay, I actually, it's not that I disagree or agree necessarily, but I do wonder. I think it would be really funny if after having all of these books be over 1,000 pages, if Rhythm of War comes out and it's like 600 pages. Because you know people would immediately be like, what? How can it be so short? Like people would freak out. And then I also feel like since it takes him so much longer to write these books, so much longer, I just feel like if he only had a book again, all this sounds so crazy, but if he had a book that was 600, 700 pages compared to the 1,000 plus, I think people would be like, how did it take him so long then? And I feel like people would start having lots of opinions about that. I mean, I would too. I'm not saying I'm exempt from this. When Queen of Nothing came out, which is the 3rd book in the Folk of the Air series, and it was as short as it was, I kind of got it and I was like, I don't know about this. The next one says, Kaladin isn't an underdog and sometimes he bums me out. More hugging Adolin, please. I hate Adolin, so yeah, no hugs for Adolin from me. Adolin is like the definition, I feel like, of privileged, and seeing that in book form, I have a lot of personal things when it comes to my dislike of anybody who thinks themselves deserving of their rank when I feel like they aren't deserving at all. And that kind of stems from the fact that my father grew up in absolute poverty. Like at one time as a child, he was living in an abandoned train car. So growing up, I heard a lot of what he had to deal with how people kind of treated him just because he was poor. And I feel like Adolin has just moments here and there where he'll be like, but like they're dark eyes, because in their world, dark-eyed people are like lesser. And I'm just like, ugh, Like, I'm just so done with him. And every time he calls Kaladin Bridge Boy, I'm like, get the F out. I hate Adolin. I've actually thought about making an entire video talking about why I hate Adolin. But I mean, I kind of just summed it up just now. But Kaladin not being an underdog, I just absolutely do not agree with that. I know there are some things that give him an advantage, but he has so many things working against him too that I just totally don't agree with this. This next one is from my husband. So I'm calling him out. He knows how much I love Kaladin, so he's trolling me. Sometimes Kaladin is a big baby. I want to ride the horse. Hey, those are my boots. Also, my husband knows that when people call Kaladin mopey, like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, but, like, he has depression, and he's a slave, and I, like, get all, like, over a fictional character, and he knows that, which is why he's trolling me and calling Kaladin a baby. Although, Shallan definitely didn't love some of Kaladin's behavior in Words of Radiance. This next one isn't Stormlight specific, it's just a Sanderson one. It says that his writing style is boring, but also chaotic to me. I don't know what to make of that. I think Sanderson's writing style is pretty straightforward, which is actually something I've always liked, because then I can focus on these giant worlds and magic systems and whatnot that he's created. So it works for me. Totally get, though, if it's not somebody else's thing, because it is, I mean, it's pretty standard. But the chaotic part, is that because of all the terms with their world and stuff? Like, if you don't mind elaborating, I genuinely am curious like what you mean by that. I know Instagram stories don't allow for elaboration, but if you want to comment, I would love to know what you're referring to. I was about to say what you're talking about. Like, I want to know what you're talking about, but I was like, oh, that sounds really rude. Oh, this next one. Again, I'm going to link the person because they have their own channel and they're great. They're not long enough with the laughing sideways emoji. I can't tell if you're kidding or not. I feel like you're not, though, because I know you like long series and long books. So I think you're being serious. And, you know, I have to disagree. I think you could trim a little, but I still can't quite tell if you're being serious or not. Okay, this person says, I don't enjoy Shallan's chapters. The amount of navel gazing is just too much. I love the term navel gazing. Navel gazing is like so much of Deadhouse Gates. I know you guys have been waiting for a review of that. It's coming, but that's like my review, is it's a bunch of navel gazing. But anyway, I think it's so funny that this person left this after the other person said, like, I don't like Shallan's point of views. Yeah, in the first book especially, it's a lot of like, what is life and what is magic? I like to draw. That's a terrible summary of what Shallan's perspectives are like, but like kind of a little bit. I think that she's not the most exciting, but I did really love the examination of her in the second one. And then I think things with her in the third one are very interesting. So I'm very interested in where it's gonna go. This next one says, the Renarin stans are basing their fandom on virtually nothing. I think Renarin is adorable. I do think in book 3, he's, I feel like he's kind of scary in book 3. As much as I don't like Adolin, there are moments where Adolin's doing stuff and then Renarin's like just creeping around the corner, or he's like staring off at something and you're like, hey Renarin, what's up? Like sees something and you're like, dude, what's going on? Like, Renarin's super interesting and I am excited to get more of Renarin eventually. But I mean, yeah, he's like a very minor character compared to the other characters. This next one says, Kaladin had the least interesting viewpoint in the first book. Excuse me. This next one says, part 5 aside, Oathbringer was boring. I felt like the opening of Oathbringer was fantastic. And then there's a scene in Oathbringer that is so good and so heartbreaking. And I was like, is Sanderson really going to do this? I could just feel it. I'm like, I feel like Sanderson's making me feel a certain way about a certain someone. And I just know where that's going to go. And then it does go that way. And you're like, no. And then you're like shocked. You're like, I can't believe he did this. But you're like, am I really surprised? Next one says, I don't really like Pattern. I don't like his humor at all. And I find him so cringy sometimes. I think my favorite line with Pattern is the dividing by 0 part. That was pretty clever. It felt a little bit like dad humor. Like, I feel like that's just like Sanderson humor coming through. Overall, I don't dislike Pattern though. I like Pattern, but nobody compares to Syl. I feel so bad. I think I'm forgetting, but Wendell, is that the other one? I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. The one with Lift. That one's precious. It's precious in a different way than Syl. Syl is so innocent and cute and mischievous, and then Wendell is kind of like Oh, geez, here she goes again. Next one says, Dalinar and Navani have subpar chemistry. Man, do I agree with this so much. Their whole thing is basically, that was my brother's wife. I can't be with her. I was about to say I can't do her. That too. But anyway, a lot of it's like, but it was like my brother's wife. And that means she's like my sister by law. So that's weird. That's the most amount of tension. Okay, this next one is another one where I'm kind of like, where are you seeing this hate? Because I see the exact opposite. This next one says Lift is a good character and they don't deserve the hate. So I've only ever seen people love Lift. I just don't love child characters. I don't mind child characters, you know, here and there. But I don't know. I think I just find her boring. The next one, okay, this is, you guys are answering these things for me because when I was like, where are the people that don't love Lift? The next one says Lift isn't funny. Yeah, I don't understand like the whole pancakes waffles thing. I feel like a bad fan for not knowing that, but then I'm also like, what kind of gatekeeping nonsense is that? Who cares? Her thing with breakfast food in her own short story novella thing. I'm like, all right, I don't know. Like Hoyd is a character who's nonsensical, but fantastic for me. But Lift, there's not enough intrigue. That's the thing. Hoyd is like weird and eccentric, but you're like, what the heck is going on with Hoyd? And then Lift, it's just like, I'm a kid who's crazy. I think I'm going to wrap it up with this last one because I also am like, same with this person, WTF. It's hilarious. It says, not my opinion, but someone I knew complained that Kaladin talked like Mickey Mouse. Is Mickey Mouse known for being super brooding? Does somebody agree with that where they can explain to me? Anyway, I'm gonna stop there. There were so many more submissions, so maybe I'll do a part 2. You guys, you can let me know if I should do a part 2 or not in the comments. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for all of you who left your submissions. My Instagram is at ebnovels if you want to participate with these in the future. Also, if there are any other books or series you'd like me to do this for, let me know. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.